Wholeness. Welcome to my channel. Rashida Silvertree here, and today's topic is about Rise of the Matriarch. The pros and cons of being raised in a non-trad wife home. So there's this huge, there's this huge uptake, whatever you want to call it, on social media about trad wives and like how it's like this phenomenon where women are glorifying this trad wife thing. I'm seeing two different perspectives online. I'm seeing trad wives that things didn't really pan out for them in a good way and they lost a lot. And then I see women who are pandering to an agenda and they're displaying themselves in a way that they're just kind of saying, oh, if I can do it, you can do it too. There is a YouTuber by the name of Ballerina Farmer, and she took off. She's got like 10 million subscribers across her social media platforms. And it's a woman who gave up her dream about 12 years ago, 15 years ago. She was literally in the Juilliard program as a professional, being trained as a professional ballerina. And she gave that up to marry a man, and this is a Mormon family, okay? So Mormon ideology, Mormon lifestyle, Mormon mindset, gave her dream of being a professional dancer. She had 1 year left of Juilliard, and then she actually, for 6 months, he was like, I think, chasing after her, wanting her, to go on a date her and stuff like that. And she told him no. Well, come to find out, this man was a son of an airline called JetBlue, I think, or something like that. Loaded. He was the son of the owner, and he found a way to get a seat right next to her on a plane ride. And for 5 hours, he had 5 hours to convince her to drop everything, right, and drop her dreams. And now she's a mother of 8 children, no nannies, very little help. She's displaying her life in a way like it's very idealistic. I don't think it's all honest. I think it's a business move. I think she made a mistake and just kind of got trapped and went along with it, and now she's reaping the benefits and setting up an empire for said 8 children. I don't believe that she's a victim. I think, people feel sorry for her. I don't. I am a firm believer that the human beings have a choice. And I was raised by my father. He instilled this belief in me, which I agree with. And I use as my way to gauge in the world. You commit acts, and acts have consequences. It's what you do and what you don't do. Consequences are unavoidable. Right? It's like you can get up and be productive, or you can stay in bed and rest and be non-productive. Both choices have consequences. And man, I wish if we taught all children this way of life, to think this way, society, I think, would be much different. But many people don't live their lives like that. They live, oh, I did this thing, and then this happened to me, and then this happened to me, and then that happened to me, and look how broken I am. Not taking any accountability or responsibility for their choices. So I feel for her because I've been a nanny for a family once, and they were affluent. They made good amount of money. On the outside, it looked good. multiple cars, a $2.1 million home, 3 healthy kids. They're not broke. You know what I'm saying? On the outside it looked like they were okay. But then nannies know, if you guys ever nannied, you guys know. Like, it's a very human experience. There's a lot of pros and cons that I saw in that lifestyle, right? And so people, especially on social media, they are selling themselves. They'll create a brand. Now, 5-10 years from now, if social media is still up and running, if we haven't broke out into World War II yet, or 3, if I'm still using this as a platform and haven't I haven't went dark or anything, meaning offline permanently, who knows? I may have a brand myself. I don't know, right? But I'm not gonna pander to you all. I just know you accept me or you don't. Okay? So growing up, the pros of growing up in a non-traditional, non-trad wife home. My mother, all due respect, was imperfect. However, I learned valuable lessons from her. Both of my parents have always told me, growing up, and in most Black families, because our familial unit has just been so weak. In the 50s and 60s, we were more unified as a family than we are today. No joke. Black families, before they brought in welfare, Black families were we had each other. Needless to say, we also had the foundation of slavery that really weakened that family unit due to the nature of slavery. So Black families, we tend to, and I can say this, I'm a Black woman, raised in a Black family, we tend to instill in our children to always be independent no matter what. Never be dependent on a spouse. Ever. Financially. Because anything could happen. My parents instilled get your education, get your money right. Get your education, get your money right. I said get your education, get your money right. All right? You had 2 options growing up in the hood as a Black child. Either you invested and did well in school and you listened to your parents when they said, you need to get up out of the hood. The only way out is education. I can't afford your education. I can't afford this or that or this or this. So do the best you can and get the hell up out of here and do better for yourself. Right? Or you had the decision to just get tied up in the hood life and be gangsta and, caught up in the weed, because weed culture is really big in Black community. Get caught up, shootouts and all that other stuff. I took the first option. I wasn't about to get caught up in teen pregnancy, fighting with my mom because it's my life, I want to do what I want. No, it was like, Naja, you have options. There will be consequences to the options that you take. That was instilled in me as a young lady, as a young woman. My mom, my parents never married. Remember? Lack of family unit, right? They were together for 7 years before I was conceived. For reasons I don't need to display. But they each said this separately several times throughout my childhood. Get your own money. Invest in your education. Do not blend your money with other men or women. You make your own. You protect your future. My dad always said, protect your energy. Protect your energy, Rashida. Protect your energy. My mom said, don't. If you let a man control the money, he controls your fate. Now, again, both my parents, they're very independent, bullheaded, extroverted, strong personality types. I'm kind of like in the middle. You know what I'm saying? I would say I'm pretty chill. People say, I'm a lot more open and extroverted than I was when I was a child. Major difference. You would be like, yeah, just very different from when I was younger. But But yeah, my parents both instilled in me, you need to be independent. And because once you give that, when, especially with babies and children, that's not even, it wasn't, that didn't really need to be preached about too much to me anyway. Because teen pregnancy with Black young girls was so rampant. And I just was just, my cousins would end up getting pregnant. Friends of friends would end up getting pregnant. They're super young, and I just saw how their life would just kind of unravel. They'd be in the middle of college, or they'd be in the middle of high school, or they have to completely stop all their dreams just because they got pregnant. And it's just, when you see and you're exposed to so much of what could go wrong, you're not going to make the same fucked up decision. You know what I'm saying? And so at a very young age, I paid attention. Now, I can't speak for all my other relatives or siblings and whatnot because they're living their life. They have their own personal experiences. But that was one of the biggest pros growing up in a non-trad wife household. Now, my mother, she's been married multiple times. Again, her story, not mine, her story to tell. I'm not going to tell the details of her personal life. I'm just saying my experience, okay? I was part of that experience, and that's what I saw. And so that right there, I said, nah, any for me. So especially growing up in an Islamic household where in Islam, a man, polygamy is practiced, and I expressed in other videos that I was exposed to that at a very young age, where Imam had 3 wives and 3 different households. So I've seen a lot, okay? So again, another pro of living in a non-traditional, a woman who was a trad wife. Number 3, pro. She always worked. My grandmother she had 7 children, kind of like my grandmother's she was born in the 40s, okay? Born in the 40s, and so her mindset was very much conservative, traditional, family issues stayed in the family. You stayed married no matter how abusive, no matter how disruptive, no matter how dysfunctional, you stayed married to the one that you promised to stay married with. She got married at 18, had my mom at 19, and then they continued to have pregnancies 7 times. My mom's the oldest of 7. Both my grandparents worked multiple jobs to keep their children fed and to keep a roof over their head. On my maternal side of my family, a lot closer, and I'll have a lot more information on, their past and what they did and who they were than I do on my father's side. But my mother's side, they worked, okay? They even owned a laundromat for a time and ran a little business. My grandmother started in the kitchen of a hospital and worked her way up being a registered nurse for over 30 years. At the same time, being a caregiver for my ailing grandfather who ended up having heart disease because of the salt pills they would give in the factory, because he worked in factory, he worked in General Motors, when they were popping back in the day. But I come from a lineage where no matter what, no matter for how little, you work. And so my mother, have never seen my mom. I mean, we've gone through a lot. I see her struggle a lot, paying for bills, trying to provide for her children, taking on other people's children that weren't her own. And up to 5 children, up to 5 of us were in the house. She worked multiple jobs. Sometimes that wasn't enough, and we went without. Without, like lights and water. I'm not ashamed of that. Most people wouldn't believe me. Most of my friends from outside the U.S. don't believe me when I tell them that. Because, people have this misconception that Americans are super, we're wealthy. Which, we're better than most, and compared to third world countries, we're in a much better spot. But poverty is poverty. And that's what we went through, American poverty. for us growing up. And it wasn't always bad either, but it was just a struggle. But my mother always worked. That's another pro. She also was educated. She has, she went to school for, at first it was nursing, but then art, because art was her passion. So she's a very creative individual. And she had her bachelor's degree, and I'm sure that bachelor's degree really helped her nail jobs. Now she's an educator for many years, and I'm not going to say I'm following in her footsteps with that, but I just find that I resonate with education. I resonate with any kind of humanitarian job that helps community and helps people. And children are our future. So those are the pros of being raised by a very strong-willed, independent woman. That I think she chose actually to be alone, and that's gonna kind of segue into cons. Okay, so my being an independent, focused, strong-willed woman is labeled as masculine in patriarchal society. A woman who's able and capable of handling it on her own. My mom, she moved us from Canada. No, she moved us to Canada, and then from Canada moved us all the way back from to Indiana in the 90s, and she did that by herself. I'm sure she had help or some kind of form of assistance. That's another thing, because you don't know everything, but I do know the moments that she needed help, or she would ask and she would get it, and sometimes just there was no help at all. Sometimes, the family would kind of go after her. I've seen it with my own eyes as a child. Like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're a horrible mom. I've seen that. And so seeing my mom going through all that alone, the con of that, it was inspiring, but it was stressful as fuck. Excuse my French. It was stressful for us kids watching our mom stressing out about just making sure our basic needs were met. And that really put left a negative imprint on me as a young woman, because it's like, I can't really trust anyone to fill in those spaces, those holes. I have to really rely on myself. And I slipped up through codependency as a young woman with my first boyfriend, because I thought, like, okay, this is my ticket out, where I don't have to have that pressure on me. And then come to when that fell apart, it left me broken, but stronger. And the realization that women cannot get caught up in idolizing and fantasizing about what could be. You have to focus on what is. So another con with that was being in I don't know what a healthy marriage is. I don't know what that looks like when you have a partner that's inclusive with you, that wants to include you, that wants to build with you. I see some online, but you can't really believe everything you see through a screen. It could be all for play. Couples fight, couples have their dysfunctional moments, but I know that there are healthy relationships out there. I just haven't really come across too many of them. And so that's a con of just like, whoa, what is it? And one thing that's so funny is that you don't hear trad husband, trad hub, you hear trad wife. Like, a woman should know her place. No, and traditional husband is what? Someone that you're relying on, is the provider and protector. But what many women are finally coming to realize is that just because they provide and protect you doesn't mean that they're going to do it indefinitely. They'll do it for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20, 30, and they find someone new, younger than you, prettier than you, smarter than you, to them anyway, right? And I've seen a lot of that. And you see a lot of that on social media now, where women are finally just breaking through that glass ceiling and be like, this is the reality. It's not peaches and cream for everybody out here in these married streets. But I just don't know what that looks like. I just don't. And so if I don't have any experience being around healthy marriages, I've been around tons of different marriages, but healthy marriages where they handle disagreements, they handle challenges in a just a mature way, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that's about. No clue. And that's what turns me off of marriage. So I'm like, I don't want to be married if I have no clue what that. I have to go to therapy first, marriage counseling first, because I have no clue. I just don't. I could never see myself blending an account with somebody financially, blending. Never. Tried it once. Never again. Never again. You're asking yourself for trouble. It's not about. Someone said something, a woman on one of these videos, she said, no marriage is hard. She said, if a marriage is hard, you're married to the wrong person. You're not married to the right one. You go through hard times. You go through hard challenges. But if it's just in general hard, you ain't with the right partner. That's just a hardcore truth. You need to be with the right partner, wife or husband. When you're with the wrong one, you're gonna be miserable. And people change. That's another thing. I'm so grateful that living in a non-trad wife home and having that upbringing is that when I look back now, how fast the men would flip on my mom. Just, I call it the switch up. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. Okay? But I can see when people switch and people will, they can act. Man. And then, but that switch up is so dangerous for men and women who are sincere and genuine. I love you. I want to build a life with you. Okay. Move in together, get married. Oh, you're pregnant. Boom, switch up. They switch up after the honeymoon phase is done. They switch up. Oh, you're pregnant. Oh, they switch up. They switch up when you want to better yourself or improve or go to school or open a business. They switch up when you lose a job or they lose their job. They switch up when their health goes to shit or your health goes to shit. They switch up on you when you have another child. They switch up when, you have a spiritual calling to do this or do that. It's a switch up. Those are those moments that I listed just now. Those are the moments, pivotal moments of growth for every married couple. In the traditional sense, those are the moments where you stand firm in as your role as a wife or as a husband. Perfectly imperfect, hand in hand, standing side by side. I'm not standing in front of you. You're not standing behind me or in front of me. We are standing firm side by side together. That is what a marriage is. Healthy marriage to me anyway. When you have those pivotal moments like I mentioned. But no, I don't believe anything I see really online anymore. You want to relate, but then And the older I get as an adult, and I see these people making all these videos, I'm like, the long blogs and where they're like, piecing and editing moments together, all the good and perfect moments, and then their overall message of the video is look how happy we are. Or then you have something like, what's her name, King of Queens or Queen of Kings? Oh God, where they just overshare like just it's diabolical. It's just a mess, and you're just like, what did I just like? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's just a message of the video. So yeah, I'm happy and grateful that I didn't grow up in a I grew up in a trad wife environment, because I wouldn't be where I am today. I think I would be still pedaling behind a man, oh, will you be my protector and provider? Needless to say, you got to be careful with the whole 50-50 man too. Because they look at you as a resource, And so nowadays, it's just people are asking, like, the connections you make with people, how sincere are they? Because everybody's wanting something from everybody else, And I don't believe in cohabitation with a partner. I do not believe that men and women should live together unmarried anyway. Absolutely not. Not after my personal life experience. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because people switch up on you. And then you find you're switching up too. And you're like, who am I? Why am I saying what? Who? What? Turns into just a cluster. You don't know who you are. You don't know who they are. You don't know what's happening. You're thinking you're doing the right thing, and it's making it worse. You're turning into someone you don't know. It's like it's less stressful, But especially in this economy, people want to be booed up. They want, lay it on thick. Oh my gosh, I feel this connection with you. I love you. Let's move in together real fast. And, put our names both in the lease. And then 6 months into it, you're like, holy shit. What did I get myself into? How can I get out? How can I get out? It's, people get married for all the wrong reasons. People sell a story. They sell a dream. They future fake. And, but I grew up with the type of rawness and realness to where I'm very careful now. Very careful. I'm child free before I could ever see myself being a parent. I'm single before I can ever see myself married. That's how serious it is for me. Those are two really big decisions any human being, but especially women could ever make. Is who you marry, who you spend your life with, because you don't have to be married, but who you marry and who you have a child with. Oh, Lord. And that's why I say sex and physical intimacy is marriage. Consummation is you're sealing the deal on a metaphysical level that will trickle down into your physical reality. You're interlocked with that person forever when you have a child with them. Forever. There ain't no way out. Not really. So you can, marry again, break up, marry again, have more kids with someone else, doesn't matter. You're interlocked with that person. These are decisions I don't take lightly. There's got to be, it has to be something so, like, no doubt, just, for me to ever be convinced. Stay at home, mom. Huh? What? I don't know. I don't understand that concept. I do not. And, it's a beautiful blessing when you're with the right partner. It's beautiful when you're with the right partner. When you're not with the right partner, you're in for a ride. And You can't foresee the future. You can't predict if someone's still going to be in love with you. You can't predict, and that's what I meant by my previous video on my religion, walking away from religion, the shackles, the religious shackles people put themselves, the restraints that they put themselves in. You don't allow, people to grow and expand and evolve. And that growth and expansion and evolution may not have anything to do with you and the kids. Or it has nothing to do with your wife or your husband or your kids. But we all want to be a trad wife now? In this economy? Maybe if you're a multimillionaire like Ballerina, what's her name? Ballerina Farmer. Yeah. Sure, go for your dreams, Go for it. But if you're making well under 6 figures in a so-so relationship, you got a couple of kids, oh my gosh, use your common sense. Use your common sense at this point. There's too much information out there to where you can act like you just knew nothing and you're completely ignorant. No, there's too much. Yeah, even homeless people have cell phones. I kid you not. I've taken care of them. Yes, in the hospital. I took care of patients who literally had a whole cell phone, but no place to live. So you have a cell phone, you have access. That's your key in society now. That's more important than a house key. So that's it. That's all I got. Tell me what you think. You may be, in disagreement or agreement, or you just kind of like, shut up, no, Rashida, I don't believe you. Know your place, woman. Get in there and make me a sandwich. Get in there and make me food. I've never just, if anything, my grandmother did. She did all the things. She worked full-time as a nurse, came home and made dinner from scratch for my grandpa. If she was mad at him, she'd make him, he'd make his own food. Oh, that was rare. But I watched my mom. My mom wasn't good at cooking. I'm so sorry, Mom. I love you if you're watching this video, but you're we all know it's an inside family joke now. But she would pay for my cello lessons. She would pay for my voice lessons. She would drive me to my rehearsals. Dad would drive me to my rehearsals. They did when they knew that I made the decision to take myself seriously and take my life seriously. I was young. I was a minor, but be damned if I will get laid up, booed up, and being a minor and a teenager and get pregnant, and while I'm in high school. No. So, I made that decision at a very young age and took my music very seriously, took my education seriously. Was I a straight A student? No. But I did the best I could. I took really hard courses in honors, AP, where I could fit in, dropped when I needed to. But I proved to my parents I was serious. Like, I'm not going to be a statistic. Nurse, no sorry, Bob. Not in this life. No. I don't, Nope. Like I said, when you were in the Black community, in the hood, you have choices, and it behooves you to make the right choice. And so my parents said, oh, she's serious about playing instruments and learning about instruments and joining clubs and her education. She's serious about this. And so that they would feed what little money that they had to pinch together my voice and cello lessons for me. Okay? And going to youth orchestra on the weekends. I always had something going on in my life when I was a kid. Ain't no way. I hitched rides. I walked. I did whatever I could to be up out that house. And I was reading on weekends. I was going to the library. Like, I had a very full life growing up. And I didn't have much money. My parents didn't have much money. But for damn sure, I was not going to get caught up. Nope. Nope. I was not getting caught up in Boom Boom and Tay Tay down the street. No, I was not. You're not going to catch me in a dance hall, twerking and all that other stuff. No. You're going to find Rashida reading the Webster's Dictionary. Yes, I did. I declare that. Yep. I sure did. Nerdy as all get out listening to my Enya tapes. Yes, I listened to Enya. Yep. Okay. So I was very serious about that growing up, and that really, it was an inner drive I had, and I'm very thankful my parents saw that in me, and they invested because they too had a choice. Life is all about choices. In a free, non-free, unfree world, we have choices. So I'm glad they made that choice, and they weren't even together. Like I said, they knew they were together for 7 years, and then I popped in the picture, and then split up. So, and they never married. Wow, you're gonna be together that long, but whatever. It was the 80s. Different culture mindset, but especially for Black folk. But I'm just grateful they made that choice and said, I'm taking Rashida seriously. She's taking herself seriously. And that's the thing. You take you seriously, that forces people to either take you seriously or get the F up out the way. Because I'm bulldozing right through. You don't take me seriously. You don't take my career choice seriously. You don't take my education seriously. You don't take my health seriously. You don't take my spiritual practices seriously. You don't take just my life and respect what I'm doing. When I mean serious, I mean just respect my life for what it is. Get the F out of my way. And I say that, and I'm non-apologetic about that. And that's for men and women. It has nothing to do with gender, men versus women, girls versus boys. No. If you're a man watching this video, if she's not taking you seriously, if she's not respecting you and where you are, where you come from, what you stand on, but yet she wants to fit you in the traditional, like be the traditional husband, protector, provider, get her out of the way. If this man wants you to fit in the traditional wife, trad wife, get in that kitchen and make me a sandwich and wipe my kids' butts and massage my feet and clean the house, and sometimes they even want you to work full time on top of that. But he doesn't respect your path or what you got going on, your education, your experiences, your capabilities. Just as a human being, get him out the effing way. That's what the message is today with all the whole hoopla on trad wife and all that. That's crazy. I mean, I've had male friends in my life, bring up this bull crap, this bullshit about women should actually know, you're a woman, you're made for breeding. What the fuck? What? What? Okay. That's it. Let me know what you think.